I'm talking about the single player campaign missions or whatever. The story. I'm gonna always have that. So like just like GoldenEye 007 for N64, you had the single player campaign mode, and then you also had um, modes where you can fight, your friends. 1v1, 4v4, 5v5. Or no, it went up to 4v4 max. I want to have that same type of setup, except I want to have like full blown PUBG mode and Counter Strike mode. Uh, yeah, it's gonna be pretty cool. But yeah, you select that from the menu what you want to do. So everybody will play the single player campaign once, and then from that point forward, the game will have lasting power by having really cool multiplayer stuff that you can do. And it's gonna have really good bots, so that you'll want to keep coming back even if there's nobody online. Which that's a real big risk when you're releasing a game that nobody else is going to be playing it. Like the chances of anybody playing the game I make will be pretty small, um, unless if it actually builds a following and does well, then it might have a community. If I went back and tried to play Counter-Strike Source right now, I don't actually know how many players would be playing. I imagine there would be active servers still, but a lot probably moved on to Counter-Strike Go, and games kind of die out. But do they die out completely, where there's zero active players? I think maybe not. There would still be like maybe a couple hundred people playing, even 1.6. How many people are playing Counter-Strike 1.6 today? But that's Counter-Strike, like a major successful game. But my game can't compete with that. I mean, it might, but I'm talking like realistically, it probably won't. Yeah, if I make a battle royale, which I do want to have a battle royale mode, probably just one map. I got to keep it simple. I mean, I might be able to create DLCs with more maps and stuff later, but everything has to be like one or two maps to start out. Uh, yeah, I would have to create a battle royale with bots. I would, if there were enough players online, it'd be all players. But if not enough people were online and the queue times would be too long waiting for a match, then I'd need to implement bots. So like, if there's not enough players to start a battle royale match after like 15 minutes, then however many players are queued up just get put in and bots fill the rest, even if that's two players. So that's how that would have to be. And the bots, if they are convincing enough, I want it to be where the players cannot even decide whether they're fighting bots or not. That would be the key. As long as there's no way for players to communicate, and in Battle Royale you don't talk to other players anyways, my skill as a bot developer, botting games, which I've been doing for a career choice, would actually be huge because I can create AI bots that are so convincing a normal player cannot tell if they just killed a bot or a human. And so that would make people feel like a game's not dead because they don't actually know if they're playing other players or not. There's no way to know how successful the game is. You just got to create really convincing bots. I remember the bots in Counter-Strike Source were so bad and they sucked, and they would like really be slow and not move like a human at all. And they had this really weird way of like turning and stuff that didn't look like a player. Um, but then randomly they would have like amazing aim at times and get these ridiculous headshots. And so there's just so much inconsistency. I would want to gather statistical analysis of mouse movements and player aim and statistics on how often a headshot happens and all this stuff, and implement that into my bots to where my bots play identical to other players. And I would study other players' statistics and be able to replicate identical play styles and everything in the bots. So there'd be no way to tell that a bot is a bot. I already have a successful video game bot, and it's not detectable to other players. So I don't need to capture netcode data and push an AI system. I can just improve on my existing bot, which already has advanced AI. I'm telling you guys, I'm already a pro video game botter, and this is just me creating bots to play my own game instead of like playing somebody else's game to try to profit using bots. I wouldn't need to intercept network traffic. I could just observe other players. I mean, a lot of it just comes down to recording mouse movements. So you can take your hand and move your mouse and record the velocity and the acceleration of the mouse movement, and then put that in the bot. Right away, that already brings a lot of realism because the bot turns and moves like a human hand moving on a mouse. That's half the battle right there. It's just realistic movement. And then you got to add in realistic strafing and forward, and then realistic gameplay like strategies and stuff, and you just got to put time into it. I feel like nobody that makes bots really puts a lot of time into thinking about the nitty-gritty details. It's enough for them just to make something that does a reasonable job. If you really get anal about it and want to really perfect it, you can just watch gameplay footage of people playing a game and then implement certain aspects of their play style and movement styles into your bot, and you can have different if you want to have lots of different bots, you'd have to add different movement styles and stuff, like jumping around while you run or whatever. You'd have to add that for different players. So you'd create different profiles so that different bots act differently. If they all acted identical, maybe that would stand out if there were a lot of them in the same room or something, but you have to like make them all do different things that different players actually do, and they're moving around through a virtual world. You don't have to intercept netcode to do that. You can just look at gameplay footage.